When you graduated truck driving school, after 3 or 4 weeks of training, did you feel like you were ready to go out on the road? Did you feel confident pulling an 80,000-pound truck and trailer down the highway at 60 miles an hour? Did you feel ready for that? I'm betting that when I ask you that, most of you, the majority of you, will say no. Today, I'll tell you 5 things that you won't learn in truck driving school and how to fix that. This video is brought to you by GP Transco. They're a mid-sized carrier out of Joliet, Illinois with a brand new yard. I like mid-sized carriers. GP Transco is just the right size in my opinion. They're not a mega carrier with thousands of trucks, and they're not a really small carrier. So they're not depending on you on a Friday night to take an emergency load that they've got. They've got plenty of guys to fall back on. They've got nice equipment, great routes. That's GP Transco. Check them out at their website at gptransco.com. CDL school will not train you as to how truly dangerous this job is. Sure, they'll give you some safety guidelines and rules to memorize, but it doesn't come close to scratching the surface. They don't tell you or teach you the things you need to do to avoid having accidents. They don't teach you or tell you, for instance, just how dangerous it is on a loading dock. I know a couple of guys that have been mowed over by fork trucks, standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time while someone was loading the trailer. They don't tell you the dangers of how slippery it can be on the back of a flatbed when you're loading or chaining or tarping. How a thin layer of ice can send you right off the deck and maybe break your leg. They don't tell you the dangers of parking and being in unsafe areas or unsafe loading docks as far as the community around you is concerned. And another example these days is they don't tell you how to handle it when you drive into a group of protesters on the interstate, for instance. None of that training is given at truck driving school. CDL schools will teach you how to steer the truck and point it in the direction you want to go, but they won't teach you how to properly and fully handle the equipment. Most of them don't teach you how to properly scale a truck, or how to slide the fifth wheel, or how to slide the bogies to position yourself for weight distribution. Apparently these days, most of them don't even teach you how to shift a manual transmission. They show you an automatic and leave it at that. And in my opinion, that's not sufficient. Not teaching these basic skills to drivers is a real disservice to the industry itself, and especially to the new drivers. In fact, the posts on our website and on our YouTube videos which demonstrate these skills are some of the most highly viewed ones that we have, and that proves that there are guys searching for this knowledge. There are even guys out there with a few years experience that still don't know how to slide the bogies or move the fifth wheel. Now, as important as load securement is, many training schools kind of skim over that or don't cover it at all. There are proper ways to load secure general freight loads, to load secure reefer loads, to tie down, strap and chain flatbed loads. I've been asked by many guys over the years how to properly load and secure produce loads because they truly never learned. Improper freight securement can cause damage to the load, injury to the driver if he opens the back doors and the load comes off on him. It can even result in rolling the trailer over if the balance isn't correct within the trailer and secured. The load shifts and the trailer goes over, and you'd be surprised how often that happens and how easy it is to make it happen. Now, you won't learn at truck driving school that you're truly not ready to be out on the road until you find yourself in a situation where you just have no idea what the hell to do, or when you have an accident. And this is the biggest complaint that we hear about truck driving schools. Probably the best example of this that we all see are new guys out of CDL school that can't back up into a hole. Sure, they teach a little bit of backing, but clearly not enough. And these new guys get out there and they can't hit a dock for love or money. Another good example of this are new guys chaining up. You see, they never learn that in driving school. They get to the hill, it snows, and it's their first time trying to chain up. They can't do it right for love or money. They break the chains slip and fall off. You see new guys struggling with this all the time. They should be trained this stuff in school. Something else they don't train them in school is how to manage the jake properly on a slippery road, how to handle a skid. You see them wipe out all the time, or they'll throw the jake on in third position on ice and get themselves into a skid. These are things they should be learning in school. Finally, truck driving schools don't teach new drivers that they have to be advocates for themselves, for professional drivers. Truck driving schools need to teach new drivers when to say go and when to say no. Truck driving schools will not tell you when to say no, for instance, when dispatch is telling you to take a specialized load and you haven't been properly trained on that load. Truck driving companies will put new drivers into all sorts of situations they're not prepared for, and new drivers should know when to say, I haven't been trained on this, or I shouldn't do this, I'm not comfortable with this. Truck driving schools do not train you to know when you've got to look at the road situation and tell the dispatch you're not prepared to go. Truck driving schools do not tell new drivers that they are the bosses of their truck. They are the captains of their ship, and they have the final decision on what is safe to do and what is not safe to do. That's the driver's call alone, and driving schools need to teach that. Truck driving school gets you a CDL, period. There are very few schools, if any, that actually teach you to be a truck driver. After all, what can you expect from a course that's 3 to 4 weeks long? They teach you just enough to be able to get your CDL. There are very, very few schools out there, if any, that actually train you to be a truck driver. The training schools do not make a truck driver out of you, which they should, but you have to learn that on your own once you get your CDL and you're out on the road. And that's one hell of a way to learn. But that's the way we do it in North America. So after you get out of CDL school, it becomes your responsibility on how to become a real truck driver. Here are a few suggestions on how to help make that happen. Number 1, Smart Trucking. Smart Trucking has tons of resources, videos and website information on how to handle every skill you may need to know. Second thing you need to do is find yourself a mentor. I'm a firm believer in the mentoring system. So hopefully you'll be able to find another guy, a senior driver at the same company that you're driving for, and match up with him, see if he's willing to teach you things along the way. Go to your dispatcher and say, hey, I want to run with this guy. He's teaching me things that I need to know. If you can't find a mentor within your own company, you should still find a senior driver that you can sit down and talk to, or call when you're in a situation that you don't understand and just ask him for advice or how to handle the situation. The older drivers are the best resource. Speaking of mentoring, I have a story for you. I remember back in the day when I was learning the ropes, I latched on to an old guy named Simon. Simon Fleckenstein was his name. And he was a tough old bugger, but he knew the industry inside and out. And I latched on to this guy, and I followed him around, and I learned all sorts of stuff. But one of the best things he taught me was how to back up a set of B trains. And he was amazing at it. He could put them anywhere. He could back them blindside. He could go anywhere in reverse with those things. And I asked him how he did it, because I just didn't get it. I could watch him, but I wanted to learn how he did it. And he taught me the one secret of watching the face of the rear trailer as compared to watching the rear of the lead trailer, watching those two in the mirror. And the moment you could see the face of the second trailer, you were straight. And then just watch for an angle, and that's how you knew which direction the pup trailer was tracking, was just by watching the face of the second trailer in the mirror. It was little things like that, and he was the greatest resource for me. Find yourself an old guy like that, it's wonderful. So take care. Remember, there's lots to learn on the road out there ahead. Stay safe, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you on the back haul.